And we are back. This is Ryan, aka Crownson's Corner, aka the Healing Chefs podcast. We are back with another episode. Today's guest, today's chef. So, chef comes from the word leader or chief. Rewind. Chef comes from the word chief meaning leader, and everybody that we have on here, I consider a leader in their own way. This person, this chef, has done quite a bit. Knows a few of the homies as well. We have a connection, if you will, through Cannabis. He said the name of the movie. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, Christopher of the Cannabis Connection Show, and many other things.
Yaga yo.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, Chef. Yes, Chef.
Hell yeah. I love it. Yeah, we've been talking for a minute here. You're out in Santa Cruz, correct?
Yes, sir. Santa Cruz Mountains and the base of Bonnie Doon. So not far from the west side at a family property here that was been in my wife's family for generations. So
that's
beautiful, dope. Beautiful Rasta Cruz, man. It's a beautiful place. Very blessed. I give thanks every day. Another morning in paradise or afternoon now.
Yeah, I know. Arizona, we're at least coming down on the temperature. So, but as the temperature lowers, the snowbirds rise. So
I see.
So,
yeah,
driving. Yeah. But dope. So before we jump into any segment, let's educate a little bit. I do have a little information here on you, Christopher, that you have 12 years experience in educating cannabis science, former cannabis cultivator for WHAM.
Yeah, the Women's Alliance for Medical Marijuana. So she was giving away free medicine for over 30 years and beat the DEA in federal court. And she, her name is Val Corral. She gave away medicine on the steps of City Hall in Santa Cruz, kind of made national news. And so kind of a mentor from the medical movement that I grew their last harvest, legal license. Yeah, they had an acre canopy and I grew it by myself, man. That was a big undertaking, but a rite of passage in a way. I mean, it totally gave me a deeper connection to from seed to sale in California compliant cannabis, and we could talk about that. California is a pretty big juggernaut in the space, and specifically Santa Cruz is a big one in the culture, medical history and genetics.
We'll definitely jump into that in the next segment, because I want to talk about California, but also bring in a little bit of Arizona, what I see from our market as well.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And discuss that. But if you could educate a little bit more of the watchers, listeners, in regards to other things that you have accomplished and the things that you do, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the personal experiences.
Yeah, give thanks, man. This is a really beautiful setup you guys got going. I came to Santa Cruz in 2008, was drawn to the kind of energetic, creative outlets of this community where the mountains meet the sea. I grew up in Gold Country near South Lake Tahoe. So I've always been tied to agriculture and the land. The little town I'm from is called Apple Hill, like just a fruit growing region in Sierra Nevada foothills, a lot of vineyards. A lot of apple orchards, a lot of great places to grow weed in these commercial spots or traditional conventional spots. And I got involved with the cannabis community through Santa Cruz Hydroponics and Organics. In 2010, I started a band, Ancestry Tree. It's Santa Cruz roots.
We'll throw that link up in there and stuff too. So people
I play bass to move the waste. And, I was drawn to that prophetic vibe that comes with the music with a message. And that one drop sound hits hard. And so I love that, deep bass, root dubby music. Through that endeavor, I got connected to farm. We would do a Seattle to San Diego circuit, and we would be taken in by mostly ganja farmers on the West Coast. And so that deepened my appreciation for the community. I went to UCSC eventually, transferred from Cabrillo as a community studies major. And that was Huey Newton of the Black Panther Party and Angela Davis started that major. So it's a lot about political activism and putting theory into praxis. And so one way of contributing to the community was I started a broadcast, a radio show called the Cannabis Connection on KSCO at AM 1080 and 104.1 FM in Santa Cruz on a local station that had been operating for 75 years. So super rooted in the central coast of California. And we were talking about herb before it was legal in California and on federal airwaves. And so that was kind of, people were like, whoa, like you're risking a lot, man. But I was pretty firm in my belief that this was a beautiful community, a beautiful plant that was helping a lot of people. I helped open a dispensary, Kind People's, in 2014. And that's how I got into radio. And then from radio, I started really taking the laws changed in 2016, and I started taking cultivation very seriously. I was meeting a new breeder, a new farmer every week for the show, just building a beautiful black book of connections, cannabis connections. And so I started saying, hey, let's try this out. I had an 80-acre ranch. I was kind of sharecropping with a family out there in Happy Valley. And got to really understand like a regenerative approach to cultivating cannabis, like improving land as the result. Not only were you getting high grade sun grown herb, but the soil water retention and the soil life was improved as a result of our crops. And
not just using,
it wasn't an extractive, and it wasn't the commodification of the herb. It was actually celebrating nature. And just keeping that going, I whenever I had a question, I could reach out to a bug specialist for IPM or a soil scientist for compostees, or I just kind of leveraged that radio show to deepen my understanding, and then anything I was interested in, I was open to put it on the airwaves.
Sounds quite a bit familiar.
Yeah, that's what you guys are up to. That's why it resonated when you
we're just doing the things that like I like to do, and we like to do and stuff like that, and we hope that you guys like it or somebody likes it. But heck yeah, dude, yeah, I love hearing it. All right,
yeah, it's synergy. No, and it's beautiful because I think there's a lot we have in common, and we have this like post-pandemic ability to connect. You're in Arizona, I'm in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and we're building these bridges. It's beautiful, man. I think if anything, it's the best thing that came out of COVID, and the best thing that came out of Prop 64 in California legalization. I think California was cautionary tale of what not to do when it comes to legalization. A lot of my background is in patients and the medical movement. And that led me to working with Val Corral of she helped write Prop 215. She's
you're way deeper.
Pretty amazing person too, like a grandmother figure for my children. And so
that's dope.
it's been really special being a part of that. And more recently I've worked into the cannabis tech side, which helped me see the broader picture of the company I work with now is Jane Technologies, and they do e-commerce solutions for all the menus at dispensaries.
Like I Heart Jane?
I Heart Jane, yeah. Yeah, I work with them. Yeah.
You know that. I've been a bud tender and all sorts of stuff for a long time.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's
I do content in the industry as of right now.
Yeah, well, it's I Heart Jane, yeah. And so that gives me a little bit of a perspective on the national and international markets. Because they service all these stores, and getting that bigger picture of where things are at with corporate cannabis, which is not my favorite thing. I'm definitely more into the roots, and trying to give voice to the voiceless, or the people that are kind of being left behind because of legalization or a prohibition 2.0 is what I like to think of it as. Obviously there's a lot of lemons, but we're trying to make lemonade here in the Santa Cruz Mountains and stay positive. And, I'm bringing in a lot more ethnogens into the conversation, a lot more art and culture, looking at the different intrinsic interchanges of all the different pieces of the cannabis culture, like food and cuisine and lifestyle and wellness.
I just linked up with quite a few different like rappers and stuff and local Arizona.
Amazing.
Night.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Yeah, we got KRS-One coming to Santa Cruz next month, and I'm hoping to facilitate some MCs that will play with him
Bro,
in town.
number one of the best rappers ever, lyricist. And number two, I quote that man almost on a daily in
That's
regards
great.
to the if an old person listens to a younger person, then they'll move faster among the circle of older people. If a younger person listens to an older person, then they'll move quickly around the circle of the younger people because they have knowledge that they didn't have. The older one has the wisdom, the other one has the new technologies and new skills and tools. If you guys talk, then we get better. The KRS-One, definitely.
That's wisdom, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good wisdom.
Yeah, dude. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into the first segment, which is Cannabis Journey. A little walk through the woods. All right. So, Cannabis Journey is all about how you found cannabis yourself, and then we can discuss like the state of California and Arizona.
Word. Nice, man. Yeah, I was interested in performing arts as a kid. Did a lot of acting and then music, of course. And so when I was 14, I auditioned for a one act play for a festival. Like at my high school would do these. It's called the Linnea Festival at Sac State, and I got a really good part. It was a student directed one act. I got the lead role of Joe Kanan and Salome, and the guy directing it was a senior, and all his homies were kind of like running this one act. And I'm walking to PE one day in the quad, and they're like, "Yo, Smiley, come over here. What are you up to?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to PE." And they're like, "No, you're not." And I got in their truck, and they drove me to this orchard,
You're not.
and it was Tom Heflin's orchard, his family's orchard, called Rainbow Orchards. And I remember it started snowing. It was like, winter. I just had auditioned for this one act my freshman year, and they had this like killer little bachelor, clubhouse, and a killer glass collection, and some like an ounce of herb in a mason jar, and put on some music, and like the black light, pretty like stereotypical experience. But I just remember puffing on a bubbler that had like a purple, like when you smoked it would turn color, and Purple Haze was playing, and I just started smiling and couldn't stop. And
Oh
that
yeah, you remember real quick Chameleon Glass? Chameleon, the brand?
Yeah,
Yeah, that changed.
that's
Everyone
cool
looked that
stuff.
up.
Yeah.
Go
It
ahead.
blew me away, man. And like, so these guys were a little older, a little more savvy, and took me under their wing. And we eventually became really good friends throughout that whole, like a lot of them graduated right away, but I kept in touch. And that's kind of what brought me to Santa Cruz, is some of those older homies that were in bands. They moved to Santa Cruz for college. My friend Joey was going on tour in, Christmas time, 2007. I had just graduated high school, and he's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm looking to move out of Placerville." And he's like, "Come to Santa Cruz, man. I need someone to take my room. I'm going on tour." And that was like Christmas. And so January 1st, 2008, I moved to Santa Cruz. The only homie I knew, I took his room. He left town. And lo and behold, I moved into a Victorian on Beach Hill in Santa Cruz, this really old,
Yeah.
cool spot. And, next to my room was a grow room. And so these guys were a surf rock band called the Moon Germs, and they were selling cuts to all the indoor farmers on the west side of Santa Cruz. So right away, it was like, a rite of passage into the Santa Cruz cannabis culture.
Yeah.
We were supplementing our rent with genetics, and then we would chop our way to the top. So we would sell them the cuts, they would grow it out, and then they would bring us in, and we would trim the work. And I was 18. A lot of these guys were maybe 25, further along in college and whatnot. But
Yeah.
once again, it was this pattern of like kind of mentorship where I was young and green, literally, but smiley green, coming in with a good vibe. And they're like, yeah, let's he can do cuts, he can sell stuff, he can trim. And that kind of initiated me, into the cannabis community, and then the music scene of Santa Cruz. And I was off to the races there. Eventually I got like a real job with Santa Cruz Hydroponics and Organics, like a W-2 job, not just cannabis work. And, you know, I was an event coordinator for all this group. Had like 6 grow shops in Santa Cruz and 2 in the Bay. And we had this event every summer, 16 weeks of Ask the Experts days, where we brought in Advanced Nutrients or Aurora Soil, and I would do a barbecue, and all these growers would come and talk shop with the vendors.
Nice.
And I got to know a lot of growers because I was serving them burgers and hot dogs, and we were talking cannabis and
Hell yeah.
just built. So that's a bit of my cannabis journey. And then I opened the first like really large scale, the 2 owners, and I was employee number 1, which was Kind People's Collective, in 2014. And that just, then I started the radio show in 2015. Boom. And then I started getting, canopies of legal licensed herb going with a temporary outdoor in 2017. And then the WHAM license in 22, where it was 7,000 plants, all from seed.
That's crazy. That's a chart right there, huh? Oh, we all love to get high. Dope, man. Wow.
Yeah, I love the plant
experience. Yeah, definitely. Like all that trim stuff too. That's a good business model too. Hell.
Yeah, I can't take credit, but it was the moon germs. But I just literally fell in. I mean, a lot of the
you put on all you do is you cut it and then then they grow it out. They're like, hey, can you trim this? Bro, come on. Dope.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. So as with all that experience, and being around California, big shout out to Earth Rhythm and all them and the Cookies homies.
Homies. Todd
Fuego, Family Farms, Todd, all them. Buck, GP, all them. I'm gonna come out there, hopefully next year.
Yeah, man, hit me up.
Everything's expensive.
I feel it. No,
life's expensive right now.
Life is.
But I was even speaking with Buck recently, and he asked me why I question, because I don't really know all the stuff in California, what's going on. But he asked me why I constantly like question different brands and test results and stuff like that. Well, number one, it's because I've questioned everything since I was a child. Once I found out my parents were lying to me, I knew it was a war. I was like, all right, it's me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I question a lot of different things. But what I'm trying to get at is in Arizona recently, they're misusing a lot of marketing terms like live hash rosin, when like it's some sort of rosin that's been, and I couldn't tell you how they do it. It may not even be rosin, but they CRC this stuff, or clean it up and then reintroduce terps to it, and then they sell it as live hash rosin. And I've even bought some of this stuff. Did you guys see that a lot of deceptive practices in marketing terms in California?
Yeah, it's a lot of fuckery, a lot of greenwashing. They'll use terms to make things sound like it's a better product, or there's a lot of just there's a whole list of like terms that you see, at the point of sale or in these procurement brokering rooms. My experience with like the Emerald Cup and growing for WHAM is we got a part of a bulk buyers showcase for all these sun-grown farmers, but indoor farmers were in the mix too. And in Santa Rosa in California, is like you have the Bay here, you have the Emerald Triangle here, so it's like a big depot of legal and traditional sales. And I just hear that jargon thrown around everywhere. And I think the LA Times did a story too about, to your point about concentrates and vapes being on shelves that shouldn't be, right? Pretty dirty because of these like not most righteous practices to make things look good, smell good, but it's not from the plant. It's not a full
Yeah.
spectrum, wholesome approach. I don't know. I've heard some stuff in the traditional markets of spray packs and
Oh,
stuff. It's kind of gross, man, because there's so much abundance and potential with good genetics to create all the flavors you want, whether it be gas, candy, exotics, fruit, jacks, hazes, whatever you're looking for. And it's just lazy and kind of greedy because you're cutting corners and you're deceiving people. And, it's bad for business, I think, long term. Santa Cruz is such a saturated cannabis place that I think I liken it to like doing show business in LA or New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And to your homies, Fuego Family Farms, those guys are gold in, gold out, like righteous farmers,
yeah.
meticulous runners and researchers for cookies and the greater cookie like crew, and there's a reason why Santa Cruz is the home of the haze. Is we've been like cultivating some of the best genetics since 80 years of prohibition, since the Hayes brothers in the late 60s, people coming back with beans from Vietnam and starting that domestic practice of growing in the Santa Cruz, and Big Sur. So yeah,
And people don't. Well, I
cool.
wish people would educate themselves a little bit more. But you can't hold everyone. But because like people will even like I love like Blue Dream. Like, well, do you know what even was part of Blue Dream? Do you know where the haze came from? Do you know where the blueberry came from? I don't know. I think with corporate cannabis and whatnot, we kind of are losing a bit of the uh I don't know, community. The but
Yeah,
I believe here in the future where it's just like in anything, comes in waves. Like we used to be nothing but like craft and amongst the homies and
yeah,
everything. We all did that way before social media. So everyone thinking that you get canceled because of social media. No, you're just back to where you were. You still
yeah,
know the same people. Like it doesn't.
yeah.
This whole thing is ridiculous. But um, it'll go in waves. I feel like we're gonna like right now. I feel Arizona is in the Walmart wave of cannabis.
Really, it's
Absolutely,
just big depot kind of MSOs, multi-state operators in Arizona.
that and low like so much oversaturation. So all the people that own the licenses, the warehouses, and stuff like that are they're gonna make their money whether you sell your weed that you grow or not.
Got
Bottom
it. Yeah,
line.
that's
So
California.
those people that oversaturated with the flower and can't get it to sell, then they're sitting on a bunch of flour. Then what happens is then those people broker it out to a new byproduct company, i.e., cartridges, edibles, um, concentrates. All that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
added products, just trying to make ends meet, I guess. Reclaim some value from the crop.
because I understand it. I'm not mad at a lot of these different things because at a certain point in time, there's a person involved that has to make a decision about people getting paid, and it's a job now,
Yeah,
right?
100%, man. Yeah,
And
that's
so
hard.
it is a very, very hard thing to be able to balance the two things. So this is like I watched a lot of Shark Tank, right?
Okay, yeah,
So I see it like this: you can get mad at corporate cannabis, but um, your brand that you love is going to do one of two things. They're going to make it big enough to where um, a company's going to buy them out and they sell out,
yeah,
or they just sell out. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's going to be too much to do, and they're just going to sell out because they're going to have too many people to be responsible for, and then they're just going to sell out. That's. Or the other thing is they sell craft, and you just stay happy with the amount of growth. It's
yeah,
never going to grow any more or any less, but you just have to be happy with that. And it may just stay that way forever, and so on and so forth. So, you either stay craft or become big enough to be bought out.
yeah. That resonates a lot, and it's kind of I feel for California craft operators that are struggling because of those big, Walmart competitors. And I think, the market needs, like, to your point, like, it takes effort to give a care, to care
Mm-hmm.
and to take initiative to care. And I think that's what is, I'm slowly seeing some things with Jane, like more demand for terpene specific flower,
Mm-hmm.
moving beyond the indica sativa binary, a more informed, clientele, and even bigger brands, putting more COAs out there and talking about the entourage effects of the flower, which I'm like, okay, cool. That means the buyers, the consumers are asking these questions, and so they're marketing themselves, leveraging marketing as a education mechanism and learning opportunity. And I think over time it would be cool to have, to your point, like, this is a craft product. These are craft, like almost a shelf, and then these are your outlet Walmart. If you just want, you know,
Yeah.
regular stuff that, for bang for your buck, it's here. But I think with wine, with coffee, with really good beer, the difference between a Budweiser and a Russian River Pliny the Elder, or, and forever, like this Santa Rosa brewery that I've looked up to, you could only get the beer in Santa Rosa at the brewery. And I
See.
kind of like that exclusivity. And then I grew up in this little wine country area of the Sierra Nevada
Mhm.
foothills. And I love to see family businesses, like the kids I skied with at Sierra at Tahoe are now running Lava Cup Vineyards, the vineyard that
Yeah.
Grandpa planted the, vines, and Dad ran it. And now the kids my age are having their kids at this family vineyard. And I think there's an opportunity for cannabis still. I just think the clientele is still in its infancy of understanding what is truly special and small batch and loved up and exclusive, and they're kind of stuck in the numbers. And the numbers game is all a farce too. All these labs inflate their, you could shop around and get a better COA, higher THC
That
percentage.
and here's something with Arizona. If they dry it out to a certain, they have to dry it out already to a certain moisture content. But if they dry it out a little bit more, that means there's not as much moisture, and that THC percentage will be higher because
Oh
it is more
God.
percentage of the bud. Boom.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
there's fuckery all over the place, but it's just people trying to get by. And I just seen like a bunch of companies doing these different things, but it'll all make it around. Yeah, craft is where it's at. And that's the thing. Before we jump into the next segment,
Yeah.
um, that's what I want to end up doing eventually is have like a craft brand.
Sweet.
And but with craft, there's a story behind it. Every time you get like a craft something, you look back and there's a story of the family or whatever that created it,
Sure.
and you're sitting
Yeah.
there drinking, like a kid, you're smoking or drinking along and reading this shit and stuff. Like that's what I want. I want to sell an experience, not just a profit. Uh,
Amen.
you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I
I
would
got
like that for the plant. Yeah, I would like to see cannabis culture kind of more infused into the business of cannabis. And I think we got just caught up into the green rush of, let's get this thing going. We're going to get,
yeah.
a lot of speculators that weren't from cannabis came in with a lot of venture capital and kind of disrupted what was cool about medical, which was everyone, had that fallback, like, oh, if my job fell through, I could pull a crop off and, save my kids tuition and pay the mortgage. That's no longer really an option anymore as a result of a post Prop 64 era in California. I can't tell you how many people in the 2010 with the recession that happened started growing, and we were selling those cuts, and I was running grow shops, and big indoor operations in every neighborhood. And it's crazy. It was a pretty, but the herb was way better. And
Yeah,
I'm also a big proponent of grow your own. I only smoke really homegrown, and I encourage anyone that can grow to grow.
that's another. I wanted to do that end of this year, but life. But
I get it, man. It's a
yeah,
lot. These are all like full-time jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's all good stuff because one thing about herb is you put love in and you get tenfold back, no matter what you're doing.
The best weed for my money is always out of closet or in
Yeah,
someone's tent. But
that's yeah.
but let's go ahead and jump into the next segment. Trip tales, real quick.
All right.
All right. So Trip Tales is all about psychedelic experience, thoughts, and news. What's going on? I know recently I was talking about the FDA looking at possibly having MDMA as a treatment for PTSD, especially with like veterans and stuff. Unfortunately, that was denied. So they'll have to repackage that and come back to it. But they are working with psilocybin. I've worked quite a bit with that. I might even eat some shrooms later. Um,
Word.
but I'm a heavy proponent of acid. I love that, Lucy. LSD. But my thing that saved my life, being a veteran, was ketamine.
Wow.
Ketamine therapy. I used to be a real aggressive, reactive, angry person. Don't get me wrong. I still get have moments, but don't we all?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it let me put that angry monster, let him sit back there, and let me handle everything, and be like, I don't need you right now. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with and stuff. And like I said, I might be tripping later, allegedly.
Yeah. I definitely ate some mushroom chocolate last night, and yeah, I feel a deep connection with all entheogens. Definitely, I've seen a lot of our cannabis community move into cultivating mushrooms, psilocybin,
Yeah.
and I've deepened my connection to the sacred mushroom. There's a lot of amazing like chefs that I work with here that make their own kind of creations. Last night I had a maraschino cherry chocolate dipped half-gram per cherry. It was amazing. I went to a UFO disclosure lecture and saw
What?
I saw some alien bass music afterwards and ate some mushroom chocolate.
That sounds
That
amazing.
was those cherry, chocolate dip cherry. It was incredible, man. And
Yeah.
every time I connect with the mushroom, I feel like it's life accelerated in the way, like to your point, like the parts of me that could do better, I can at least have some compassion and deal with myself. And then I come out of maybe a 4 mile walk and a half gram of mushrooms, like a better person, in my opinion. I feel
Yeah.
better. I know it's good for my mental health, but I think I also come into my relationships with my family or my band or even my work, like with a more compassionate and openness.
Well,
And
that, and I think I don't know what happens, man, but I know when I'm tripping all of a sudden and I start talking to somebody about the podcast, or I have a thought or something, then I start talking to someone, I set someone up on the podcast, and then I stand back after a little bit and go like, how the hell did we start that conversation? And I'm like, why did they? There's so many people that I've had these conversations with. It just started off of me tripping, going, "Hey, what's up, dude? You want to do you want to talk?" It's
that's
just like,
good.
yeah,
I love that.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
yeah, there's something going on. There's a consciousness like
Do
mycelium.
we have free will? Huh?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a lot that we all have parts to play, all the world's a stage, said Shakespeare, and we're kind of just, I feel in those psychedelic states you can have a glimpse into these complex layers of existence and interconnectedness. And whether that be yourself and your relationship with mind, body, heart, spirit, or with each other, like what you're saying, I totally agree, man. It's incredible the amount of people I have interacted with, and
Yeah.
this being a case in point, and it always is a really fruitful, positive experience to have such
Yeah.
abundance of human connection, cannabis connection, but also the psilocybin connection or these other like pieces and teachers that we could put together to see the bigger picture of the puzzle of existence. Who knows, man? It's an ongoing process, but I'm loving the trip.
Heck yeah. And when I get there, allegedly, maybe I'll have to show you some of the things that I've created with maybe
Please.
with I'll say I made it with button mushrooms.
There you go. Beautiful.
I have a soda. I have some other stuff.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Yeah. It's gonna hit you quicker. Yeah, I like so at one point in time when I moved back to Ryan talking take 3. When I moved back out to Arizona, I came into I was working in the culinary industry, um, and one of the homies had he said I got some acid on Sour Patch, and at that time I'd had shrooms before, I had all sorts of different things. I had never had acid before. I'm like, yes. So I got those. It was like Christmas time, and I was sitting outside smoking a joint, and I ate them, and I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden, like my icons on my phone just lifted up off of there, and they were floating and doing this stuff and everything. And my ex now, I looked at her, I'm like, I'm the acid taking chef. I said, what? I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, I've made some crazy things and done some crazy things, but everything as soon as it's over, I feel like whether it was a challenging trip or a great trip, I feel relieved. I've had connections with, like you said, like through thinking about my family, my friends, and all those different things, and I just feel like hey, I'm actually okay. So that's one of the biggest things that I've gotten from psychedelics, other than a really good time and some laughs.
Yeah. It's a release. It's cathartic, and I think there's some interesting stuff to think about. Stoned ape theory, and how we as hominids, early apes, got to this point of communicating and being where we're at now with technology and whatnot, and thinking about non-human intelligence and all these states of existence. There's something to it. I don't think it's a coincidence, our relationship with all of these amazing teachers. It's an ongoing thing. It's exciting, actually, that we're able to talk more openly.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Have you ever, while tripping on shrooms, and I've done it on a heavy dose, actually talk to the shrooms that you're on?
All the time, dude.
Yeah,
okay. All the time. Even on a lower dose, I feel like there's, you think, the way I kind of think of it is it me talking to myself, or is it the mushroom talking? And I think the voice that I encounter is my internal monologue voice, but it's certainly what is being said or shared feels like a higher intelligence, which I consider the mushroom.
So here's another thought, right? You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
I thought of this a while ago. So the computer is what gets you onto the internet, right?
Yes.
What if psychedelics, mushrooms, acid, especially DMT, are the technology to get you to the internet?
I like that.
Of life.
Yeah. Of consciousness, of existence.
Smoke something and then think about that for about 15 minutes.
We think about that later too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
eat some more cherries.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Like, there's so many. Like, that's the number one thing I love about psychedelics is that everything that everyone kind of like takes for fact, it goes etch a sketches it. It's like, nope. Run it again.
I think
But
that's healthy too to shake things up. I think there's a lot of people that
absolutely.
could benefit from getting out of that rigid, neuroplasticity. We need ways to think differently to grow our perspective and yeah, new point of view, new perspective. That's actually so healthy that I think we need to find more ways to encourage more people to be cool with that. It's changing quite a bit. I'm actually
Yeah.
really excited for a new generation that won't have all of this
The
stigma.
hang-ups. Yeah, all the
Yeah,
hang-ups.
yeah, and prohibition, and
Yeah.
hopefully live up to our creed of freedom and giving people rights to engage with their consciousness and that component of being human. I think it's a right.
Yes. That is something to end this segment on. That is a crazy thought to have the next generation with having psychedelics as a means of therapy,
Amen.
being cannabis not being illegal, all sorts of things. You're really changing the fabric of society a bit. So it's hold on to your butts, as
That's right.
Michael
Jurassic
Jackson
Park.
said. Jurassic Park.
Right
Thank you.
away. Hold
He
on
got
to
he got he got the reference. There we go.
your
I'm not that old. I'm just
I love it. Oh
yeah.
man. Yeah. We're reliving the 90s at our house with all the movies.
Oh, bro, 90s. I
Hey,
wake up in morning not feeling like that guy. But I wake up and I'll do that eventually. I'll edit these clips and whatnot. And right now, if you guys listen to the clips, a lot of the music that I'm using is 90s music because that's the shit that I love. It's
same.
kind of my style with the whole thing is the 90s. If you don't know, Mountain Dew competitor Surge. That's my. If you see that logo, that's me in a logo. I feel like,
It's good. I remember Surge.
yeah,
Yeah.
Surge.
Yeah.
You gotta get it. Everyone's like jumping over couches and in industrial buildings. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but
Yeah, totally.
all right. So we'll go ahead and jump into the next segment, which is mental health is wealth.
Nice.
All right. So mental health is wealth is a little bit of combination, kind of like the cannabis, the psychedelics that we've all been kind of talking about already. Again, I'm a veteran with PTSD. Worked on it quite a bit. Still working on it. Always healing, never healed.
Mm,
Um, with the state of things, life, everything. How what I like to ask people is, do you have any coping mechanisms or any anecdotal things that can help people in their struggles that maybe they don't have the skills for as of right now? Uh,
mm,
do you, like I myself, what I do is I do counting, mathematics when I get upset because I can control numbers. I
nice.
can't control a lot of different things.
Nice.
I mean, it's applicable math. I'm not just sitting here going, Rain Man 127. You know what I mean? But like,
Totally. That's cool. That's a good technique. I need to, for me personally, it's getting co-regulating outside. I
mm,
need to be connected to no matter whether it be here or in the mountains of Tahoe. Wake up in the morning and get that sun in my face and go outside. One thing for my mental health and just life is to take that walk on West Cliff. I do 4 miles with a little bit of psilocybin, and that kind of clears me up, and I get to reset and get the blood flowing, get the fresh air, get that
orphans going.
yeah, get the heart going a little, connect with the dog. I'm blessed to have this group I've played music with, and we've been together so long, 14 years. We've had different players over the years. We've had like we're on our eighth drummer. It's always the drummer, but music if you have that creative outlet or even something that you love to do, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a creative thing, but just like cooking a good meal or spending time with your kids, or taking that time to prioritize those things, like at least in some sort of like prioritize like a weekly thing. Like we always jam no matter what every week. We have gigs every weekend. That's kind of a creative social outlet. But that connection to nature, bringing in the blood flow, the breath, and then that muse component. Well, whatever your muse is and whatever you like to do, make sure you're available for that time with the muse. Because I feel like that in some ways will clear up that that inner monologue that may not be serving you, or these like Jekyll and Hyde parts of yourself that may kind of come bubbling out the surface and acting out, and having issues with finding your equilibrium. These things that are consistent can kind of maintain that equilibrium, so you don't have an episode or something happen.
Discipline is art.
Yeah, it is, man.
Discipline is art.
And it's not easy, being compassionate to yourself. That's something that helped me a lot when I was having a little bit of struggling with substance abuse. Was, I needed to like have compassion for myself and be like, you can do this. You can get better. You deserve to be healthy and live.
It's okay to be happy.
Yeah, and you're not perfect, and that's okay. And that compassion is like a step towards healing. And I like the way you put that, always healing, never healed. And that's also compassion too, of saying this is a process. You can do one step forward, two step backwards, but as long as you're still going forward, and that spirit of like 1% better, every day you're trying to get better. I think that's good. And I think just prayers up, man. I plant and chant. I plant a lot of weed, and I play.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because even cooking. So lately, I've been back in the gym.
Nice.
I was doing it at my apartment gym for a while, but I kind of outgrew that, and I'm now at the regular gym. And even that for myself, being PTSD and whatnot, I had to fight through the fear to get into the gym. We all get these like free trials and stuff like that or whatever to try out a gym.
Yeah.
I almost missed it because I was just like, I don't know. I don't want to be around, I don't know, people. I don't know. And I was just like, one day I'm like, no. We're fighting through the fear. And I have to do that quite a bit. But the gym has helped me with that, but not just working out, but with the gym, I've had to set up a routine and set up discipline and eating and stuff like that. So, but like you said, I've been nicer to myself. So if there's anything that I miss or I'm not exactly perfect on, I don't like beat myself up about it. Anything, I'm like, okay, we did that, but let's do this next time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that's good. That's
and
healthy.
now I don't live, and now I don't live so like because I'm not mad at myself. Because if I'm already mad at me, you have no
I get it. Yeah.
no chance. And that's something I've had to learn about myself. Even being dehydrated and stuff, I can get crabby, and if I'm not happy with myself or what's going on, I have a problem of taking it out on others, and that's something that I work on constantly. So that's part of my PTSD. But setting up that discipline, all that kind of stuff helped me out.
Yeah, and taking care of yourself too, like working with a toddler, having a newborn. I have to remind myself to give my wife, you got to take, when the masks fall in the plane, you have to put your mask on first in order to help others, to some extent, and that's okay.
I literally just put that. That was literally in the episode, our last episode.
Oh, classic. Oh, yeah. That's crazy. But I've learned that through parenting too. It's like you got to take your shower and prioritize a little time by yourself, or your wife or your partner's time, and you got to take care of your temple so that you can be a loving partner and loving father, and show up and be present. And if you're neglecting yourself, and just trying to help everyone but yourself, you know, it'll take, the body keeps the score. You gotta prioritize you too, and that's okay.
And psychedelics will even that score once you take them. They'll be like,
Yeah.
that shit you're riding, bagat.
Gonna hit hard.
Staying on.
All
right.
And all of that is growth too. You know, even the bad trips, you come
I call
away.
them challenging trips because there's a challenge to get through. You grow from it. It's a great experience. But
100%.
With that, let's go ahead and jump into the last segment, which is plug talk, and we can promo everything. All right. So again, Plug Talk's all about whatever you have to plug, the radio show, your band, all that stuff. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, yeah, the Cannabis Connection, canconnect.org, all the social medias at the Cannabis Connection on Instagram. We're live Fridays 5 to 6 every Friday. There's archive on Spotify, archive on Apple, on SoundCloud. We're really hoping to do more of this kind of content, more video, more YouTube. Yeah. So check us out on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get to that threshold where, you know, to be self-employed, I felt like when we started the show, you know, we love what we do, but it would be wonderful to support our families with what we do as well.
Believe me, yeah.
The band is also another, like, there's all these labors of loves in my life that, you know, no matter what, we're going to always play music. We're always going to, you know, plant cannabis and steward this community. Ancestry, TREE, Santa Cruz Roots Rock Reggae. We play all over the Bay Area. Check us out on YouTube, on all the socials. I also do a music show called Earth Church on KBCZ 89.3 FM, Thursdays 8 to 10. So check us out, kbcz.org. And just going to keep on doing what we're doing. Check out Jane Technologies, and grateful to be on the show, man. This has been a lot of fun, and we're going to keep on growing.
Hell yeah. We're networking just begun.
Yeah.
So definitely, I definitely have to check out the band and all that kind of stuff. If you want me to, if you have a music video or something, we can throw it in as our little like break in the middle of it. In the episode, I can do that. We'll figure that out. I want to thank you, first of all, for coming doing this. This has been dope. I'm glad that we have made our cannabis connection through the home.
Likewise, bro.
I see a bunch of growth in the future. We can tap in with each other from here and there. If you want talk to people from AZ, I'll send them your way, and so on and so forth.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I want to shout out again, Earth Rhythm Cookies, Lemonade, all those homies, family, or Fuego Family Farms. I always want to mess that up. Shout out Old Pal, shout out Hades Cannabis, High Vibrations. Big shout out Habari Entertainment for the studio. If you want to do your own podcast here in Arizona, hit them up, habarientertainment.com, habarientertainment.com. All right. Thank you again for coming. It's been dope. I'll try to drop in on Friday and watch you guys and all that kind of stuff. But we'll be dropping this, not this Tuesday, but the next Tuesday. Thanks again, man.
Thanks, man.
Great Sunday.
Peace.
Smoke.
With love and compassion, we'll find our way. From the battlefield to a brighter day. With love and compassion, we'll find